Hey everybody, welcome back to World History. We're doing section 4 today, so go and get your notes out and let's get started. So, one of the people we want to talk about today, and we're really going to be focusing on the slave trade today, is Oduwade Equiano. He was an enslaved African who was taken from his village in Africa at the age of 11. He was one of many African people to be taken from their homes and transported to the New World to be slave labor. The Spanish were the first to take slaves to the New World. If you remember, we talked about Bartolome de las Casas earlier this chapter. That's because of that. Equiano will actually be able to get out of slavery. He will be bought by a really kind person, be given an education, and he actually writes a memoir of his life that is one of the most eye opening reads about the slave trade. So, triangular trade. Again, this is something you guys have probably talked about before. This is a three legged international trade system between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. The first leg is from Europe to Africa, and I don't know why the picture is covering that. And then the second leg of the Middle Passage is slaves to the Americas. In America, the slaves are then traded for goods, and the final leg has merchants carrying American goods to Europe and sell those as commodities. This trading was profitable for many. Cities like Newport, Bristol, and Nantes specifically are all going to benefit from this. Merchants were also growing very wealthy, and industries that supported trade are going to thrive. Shipbuilding, shipping goods, farming, raising tobacco, sugar processing, they're all going to be very successful industries. So, on the Middle Passage, so this is the second leg of triangular trade. It would begin long before ships would set sail on water. Most Africans were taken from inland villages and forced to march to the coast, where men, women, and children were bound with ropes and tied to one another all the time. They would then walk thousands of miles carrying heavy loads of cargo, and this is before they even got on the ships. Once they're on the ships, once they were purchased, they were stored below deck on slave ships, usually tied in chains to each other. Ships would face a lot of problems during these journeys. The storms from the sea, raids by pirates, or even mutinies or revolts by the captives themselves will make the Middle Passage not a great experience for many. So these ships were also known as floating coffins because disease was extremely common. Up to half the slaves on board would die from diseases like smallpox. Some didn't die from disease, though. They just died from brutal mistreatment. And suicide was actually very common. They believed if they were dead, their bodies would be returned to their homelands. In reality, the whatever country's flag the ship was flying, the crew would just chuck the body into the ocean. So, some impact. It was profitable for a few. For Africans, their lives are forever brutalized. Historians estimate that in this era, the 1500s, about 2,000 Africans were brought to the Americas every year. By the 1780s, when the slave trade was at its peak, it was up to about 80,000 per year. The total number is to be estimated right around 11 million. Some say it's closer to 15 million. We don't have exact numbers to say one way or the other. All right, that's it for notes for today. Y'all have a sheg packet to do that'll be due next time. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.